This video is sponsored by REVV Gotcha. REVV Gotchas are a really cool mashup between DeFi and NFT gaming. As the name suggests, the gotcha part comes from Tamagotcha. So they are these super cool little creatures that you own and you can look after and you can give them cool wearables. The REVV part comes from the REVV DeFi dApp. So in REVV, people lock in Ethereum-based tokens, and in return they get an A token, which is an A version of that token. And what's interesting about that is you earn interest on it, and that happens because you lock your collateral into REVV and then other people borrow those tokens at a higher interest rate. So you gain an interest rate based on the fact people are borrowing them. So that means because each REVV Gotcha is created using A tokens, they have an inherent value, the value of the A tokens that was used to create them. And that value goes up over time because the A tokens are increasing in value because of this interest over time. As well as that really cool mechanic, we have all the things we'd expect in NFT gaming. So as you see here in this white paper, which you can go and read, they have randomly generated traits, they have kinships, they have a token, the ghost token. There is a DAO which looks after how the thing develops. There's going to be a whole universe and land and mini games and all the things we'd expect. So really innovative project, definitely worth checking out at revvgotcha.com. And thanks for the sponsorship. Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World Daily with me, John Jordan. So the news today is around a hookup between the Sandbox and F1 Delta Time. So both these blockchain based products are from the company Animoca brands, and it's done a kind of cross promotional deal, which is kind of interesting in the sense that I think it shows how a lot of blockchain games will be moving in the future. So what they've done here, a little bit geeky, is they've incentivized a liquidity pool for the tokens of each product. So the Sandbox has a token called SAND. The F1 Delta Time game has a token called REVV, actually going to be used in multiple games. And these are both ERC20 tokens, so they're using the Ethereum standard. And obviously both these products, the Sandbox and F1 Delta Time, run on the Ethereum blockchain. So what Animoca brands have done is set up a liquidity pool mining event. So using the Uniswap decentralized exchange, Uniswap is the biggest, actually the biggest dApp in total, but also the biggest exchange. And one of the reasons that it's been so popular is anyone can set up effectively a trading pair for any ERC20 tokens by just taking their own value, taking two tokens, and then you basically lock them into a liquidity pool, or you create a liquidity pool, and basically then you've got two tokens. You set the ratio between them, how they're going to trade, and then people can come in and obviously sell one token and buy the other one. So this has been enormously popular on Uniswap, and anyone previously up to this point could have set up a liquidity pool for SAND and REVV, but Animoca Brands has done it, and they are incentivizing it. So to get people to do this, they are giving away NFTs. So we can see here there are 4 NFTs. So these are they are F1 Delta Time kind of branded NFTs, although this one is actually from the MotoGP game, but effectively they are these are NFTs from the REVV kind of ecosystem from that point of view, but they are made in the Sandbox. So they're made in this in the Sandbox there's a kind of making tool called VoxEd. So these are all voxel created characters and items, and there are 500 of these, so 125 each. And these will be items that you can use in the Sandbox. So in the Sandbox, if you're making a racing game, you could use these. Probably, I imagine people will not be necessarily using them. They will be just kind of valuable NFTs, or seen as kind of bonus NFTs. These are obviously characters you could use in other games. They look pretty cool, actually. I think this is a racing car driver, and that's probably a motorcyclist. So to do this, you have to take your REVV tokens and your SAND tokens, and you have to lock them into the liquidity pool in equal value measure. So you have to say $100 of REVV, or $100 of SAND, or $1 million of REVV, or whatever. It has to be equal numbers. You have to do it. You can't just do it into Uniswap. You have to do it through this website, the revmotorsport.com Sandbox page. So this is kind of the interesting thing here, is as you basically take your value, you lock it in to the liquidity pool, and then there are these redemption points. So this, I guess, is a little bit like the meme project, where you have the meme coin that you stake, and it generates actually generates pineapples. Don't need to go into that, but it generates another currency that you then use to buy the NFTs. So in this case, you're staking your REV and your SAND token. You're getting a liquidity pool token, and that is earning you redemption points. And then when you get to one of these redemption points, one of those is worth a single NFT. And obviously the more you put in, the more value you put in, the more of these things you'll earn. So it's not very clear actually how many how this is going to work. In the case of the meme program, you can only stake 5 meme tokens into any one effectively liquidity pool, which basically just stops whales coming in and buying it all up. So this is one of the big problems here, that there's a lot of REV and SAND tokens knocking around. There's probably people with, well, there's definitely people with $1 million worth of this kind of stuff. And obviously, if they lock their value in, then they're just gonna suck all this stuff up. So it's not so good for those of us with only $100. Okay, this is not a massive big thing, but this is always one of the problems actually with blockchain kind of problems. How do you kind of gate the whales who can just come in and suck up all the value? I don't know that necessarily there is a good way of doing this. Probably the way you would do it is have a limit on liquidity tokens, but then there's always ways around it. Anyway, so it doesn't really sound like Animoca Brands has done is going to say anything around that. We'll have to see what happens. Anyway, I think it is interesting, more than kind of actually doing these things. Obviously, once people get the NFTs, they'll be selling them on OpenSea anyway, so if you're really desperate for one, maybe that's the best way to go. But it is interesting, I think, having these tie-ups. So obviously these are products from the same company, so it makes sense for them to do that. But obviously people could set up, and it doesn't need to be the companies doing it, other people could just set up these liquidity, these incentivized liquidity pools, as we've seen sort of in DeFi. This is sort of a yield farming sort of approach. So that's interesting. And I think we'll definitely see, or clearly we're going to see a lot more of that happening in 2021 as these kind of blockchain game communities try to kind of bootstrap each other. So that'll be good to see. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Blockchain Gaming World Daily. This is the daily slot of news. Hope you find this stuff useful and interesting. Please do subscribe to the channel. See you again soon.